YouTubers, it's Danielle, aka Makeup Geek 1021. So for today, I will be sharing with you my predictions about X-Men Dark Phoenix and some plot points that I personally think are going to happen. Now, if you like the video, you can leave a like to support the channel as a whole, and also subscribe if you just happen to be new. Okay, so I want to cover the most obvious prediction that many are making, the character death that will be taking place. Now, I think it is very safe to say that in this movie, Mystique is going to die. Why do I agree with this prediction? Well, we actually see a lot going on with Beast in this trailer, and both he and Mystique do not seem to be fans of Professor Xavier suppressing the first half of Jean's Phoenix powers. Now, I say that this is the first half of the Phoenix in Jean because in the comics, the Phoenix Force actually feels a kinship with Jean after she feels and senses the death of her friend after a hit-and-run accident. The Phoenix, in a sense, protected Jean from dying because Jean definitely would have died given the severe mental trauma that she had suffered through after feeling her best friend die in her arms. So I can say it's safe to assume that Jean unleashed the first half of her Phoenix powers during X-Men Apocalypse, but this mission on outer space that gets shot to hell leads to the Phoenix merging itself to Jean completely. Now, the reason why Beast and Raven are not fans of Xavier doing this is because they are seeing Xavier is actually developing a lot more arrogance and almost, I would say, a narcissistic side where he thinks he can send Jean, Scott, Storm, and Kurt out on these dangerous missions because the notoriety is getting to his head. Keep in mind that at this point, Scott, Jean, Aurora, Kurt, they're teachers at the Institute at this point in time, probably graduates fresh out of college, adults, but still kids. So you can see where Hank and Raven can possibly think that sending the younger X-Men on these missions is not a good idea because this is essentially sending children out to play at being soldiers. Like they're an army, and to me, thinking you can send children out to fight on the front lines for you to fight your battles, that's not right, and it most certainly isn't fair. Like you're attempting to force them into growing up too fast in a sense, but keep in mind also that the original 5 X-Men from the comics, Scott, Bobby, Warren, Jean, and Hank, had been X-Men since they were high school teenagers. So there's this sense of questioning whether or not it's right to send children out there to fight your fight for you. But how would this possibly lead into Mystique dying? Well, let me say that Beast in these scenes, you can see that he's enraged at certain parts, and he's even seen standing by Magneto's side and possibly wanting to take Jean down, and Storm is also seen on that side as well at certain points. The only thing that can possibly lead to Beast joining Magneto's side is if Mystique dies. Plus, we can also see throughout the trailer that Jean is starting to lose her faith and trust in Professor X, and who can actually blame her? This movie is selling the fact that Professor Xavier, he is her adoptive father. It's like Jean is saying to the professor, you're the only parental figure that I have in my life. You took me in and took care of me like I was a daughter to you since I was 8 or 9 when I had nothing. I trust you to the max with everything. I trust that you will never lie to me, especially about my powers. And now this happens to me and all you can do is just sit there and say sorry? So, my prediction is that during Jean's homecoming to Red Hook, Mystique gets caught in a crossfire and dies, which leads to Beast and Storm losing their faith and trust in Xavier because he's part of the equation as to why Jean is like this and why she lost control, because he allowed so much of his arrogance and pride to get to his head and didn't take Jean into any consideration at all. I personally think Mystique's death and Scott and Jean sharing tender moments could drive the movie home in a way that's very emotional and could be a very good way to close the book before the MCU swoops in and takes over by incorporating the X-Men into the continuity of that film universe. Now, let me know down below in the comments, folks. Do you think Mystique will be the one to die during Dark Phoenix? You can share your thoughts down below, and I will be back soon with more for you all.